All right. Listen, tension will continue with EU, and I see the EU meeting and concerns with the G7. I see concerns with the G7. So that would be Paris and Germany, that would be France and Germany and Britain. Did I say Japan yet? And Japan and Canada and the US, right? I think I'm missing one. Is it South Korea? The point is this, that I feel tension when I go into the G7 because this is an economic relationship and we don't know what kind of partnership we got with the United States right now. So I feel like Trudeau, when I went into this remote, as I stood back and looked at, I'm just looking at energy patterns, right? I'm just looking at energy patterns. I saw Macron and Trudeau talking, and I saw a German chancellor coming in and Germany. And they're like, well, what's the future of the G7? Do we have a G7? I mean, like, because whatever is going on with trade routes. Remember, we had talked about trade wars and trade routes, and that was what, 6-7 years ago, and we said it would come back to that this would lead to war. We're headed towards war, and what is causing these rising tensions? Trade routes and trade wars. So now we have, I'm going to take the Panama Canal trade route. You're going to take our trade route. Well, I'm going to take that trade route. Pirates, right? So we're dealing with this mentality of pirates, and the pirate wants to take the treasure, right? So somebody had said recently, well, I don't like this at all. I mean, look at all the people that have gotten into this administration. I mean, they're all rapists and criminals, exactly, because they're pirates. They have come and gone from this incarnation to previous incarnations. They come in and they ransack your treasure, whether it's the Spanish Armada or the U.S. Treasury, because this is what pirates do. Now, you could argue that a pirate is part of the populist movement, and that when the populace becomes the king, that's Captain Hook, right? So you could argue that this archetype is the criminal who becomes the head of the criminals. This is the new revolution. Yeah, all for one and one for all. Take that treasury. We also talked about this idea that people feel put upon. You can't start a business, right? You can't start a business, you can't do anything, and everybody feels put upon. But at the same time, what's wrong with Xi right now? What's wrong with Trump right now? They feel put upon. The little people came and tied them down, but now everybody's tied down. We're tied down. Too many all these regulations to protect you have now caused regulations on me. Now, in Hebrew, we call that midah keneged midah, measure for measure. The king has, in binding the king, we have bound ourselves. And so the people revolt and they go in. Captain Hook came in, the head pirate, and they ransacked the treasury. And they destroyed all the laws and the criminals and all of the BS that they felt was going on inside the treasury is going to come to an end. And the head criminal, the head Captain Hook, Captain Jack Black, whatever though, he can call him, I don't know, I can call him Black. What is it? Jack Black. He can be Jack. What is it? Is that Jack Sparrow? He can be Jack Sparrow, Captain Jack Sparrow. Yes. Johnny Depp. Yes, they're all one and the same, and they're all friends. Yes, it's wonderful. So this is the thing we start to see, is this energy between tension. They don't know if they have a problem. We could be seeing that this divisiveness this divisiveness between Trump and the rest of the world becomes so. Look, at this rate of energy, I want to be very clear about what I do here. I profile, I use meditative states to try to put myself in the shoes of other people. These are ancient techniques. I'm not a predictor. I'm not in the sense of being that type of a psychic. What I do is I try to stand back and look at all of the energies moving. Sometimes I get it wrong because my biggest weakness is that I always want to give people the benefit of the doubt, and it always, in the end, it always is what kills the empath. The empath is always murdered by the person she ends up trying to help. Right? That's Buddha was poisoned by by a student. Right? So. The idea here, though, is that by April, if this tension continues that we are seeing at this time, it cannot continue. And I see J.D. Vance becoming the president possibly by May, unless something radical changes. Now, maybe they can change the trajectory because people have free will, but this can't go on past April, May. And I think that J.D. Vance's main role will be to try and create calm in the country, just as it was Biden's job after Trump to create calm in the country. And I think that he will be a steady force. Much to my surprise, I can't guarantee that J.D. Vance will run for a second term. There's a feeling when you go into J.D. Vance's energy that there's deep trauma here that he will experience in DC, and he will want to leave. I simply do not see a future after that for J.D. Vance. And again, things could change dramatically, but that's what it looks like.